Good afternoon. It's the 15th of February 2013. And what I thought I'd talk to you about was how I make scrambled eggs. I live on my own, so I'm only really making scrambled eggs for one person, me. If I was making scrambled eggs for more people than me and they wanted scrambled eggs, then I'd probably make it differently. So you've got to take into account that I'm making scrambled eggs just for me, one person, me, because Polly doesn't tend to eat that much. Now it depends how hungry I am as to how many eggs I use to make my scrambled eggs. If I'm really hungry, then I'll have 3 scrambled eggs that I've scrambled. I'll take 3 eggs and scramble them. If I'm not feeling particularly hungry, I'll just have 2. You can't really, you can obviously, however I don't really think you can justify making scrambled eggs with 1 egg. So whenever I have scrambled eggs, it's always either 2 or 3 eggs that I use. Sometimes, when I go into the fridge, because I tend to keep them in the fridge because they last a bit longer in the fridge, you can keep them out of the fridge. You don't have to put eggs in the fridge, but I do find they do tend to stay fresher longer if you put them in the fridge and keep them chilled. Sometimes I find, I'm feeling really hungry. I fancy a 3-egg scrambled egg. I don't like omelettes that much, which is why I tend to make scrambled eggs. So it's 3-egg scrambled eggs. So I think, I really fancy 3 scrambled eggs scrambled. So I'll go in the fridge and I'll whip up some scrambled eggs using 3 eggs. And I go into the fridge and what happens? I find there's only 2. And that's quite disappointing. Because you've really because obviously I was convinced I had 3 eggs, otherwise I wouldn't have thought I'd have 3 eggs scrambled. So that's really disappointing when you get to the fridge and you find you've only got 2. Obviously, though, if you've only got 2, then you'll have to have a 2-egg scrambled egg dish. So that's disappointing. Also, sometimes you want just a 2 scrambled egg dish, scrambled eggs, scrambled 2, and you find there's 3 left in the box, and you think, wow, shall I have that last? I'm not that hungry, but it does seem a bit silly just to leave just 1 egg in the box on its own in the fridge. Shall I have 3? And that's a big debate then. Well, shall I have, what else have I got in the fridge? I've got some bacon. Well, that perhaps is worth leaving the 1 egg. What else have I got in the fridge? Milk and some butter and some mince meat from 2 Christmases ago. No, I think I will try and eat all 3 then. Perhaps I'll just have 1 piece of toast. That's the sort of logic that goes around in my mind. So yeah, sometimes you plan to have 2, and then you find you've only got 3 eggs left. So then you think, well, I'll have a 3 one then, and just have perhaps 1 piece of toast. And then of course then you've got to make sure you paste your toast correctly, because it was difficult to eat all that egg with just 1 piece of toast. So those are sort of the initial debates that go on about how many eggs to use to make the scrambled eggs. Then once I've gone through all those thought processes, decided which toast to have. I usually have the sort of wholemeal or granary bread for scrambled eggs. I find that goes better with scrambled eggs. So I get the eggs out of the fridge, 2 or 3, depending on whether I've decided to have 2 or 3, or if I've changed my mind and had 3 rather than 2, or if I've only got 2 and I can't have 3, I'll have 2 or 3 eggs scrambled. So the next step in the process is to make sure I've got some tea. Talking of which, I'll do that now. Because you can have scrambled eggs without a nice cup of tea to go with it as well. Because it just adds a nice just the right drink to have with scrambled eggs on toast. So make sure you've got some tea in the pot ready for when you eat your scrambled eggs. So that's important. And I've got some tea. I haven't actually got any eggs with me. I could, of course, just make some to show you how I make them. I haven't actually got any eggs, so I'll just have to stripe it instead. So that's important. Make sure you have some tea to drink while you're eating your scrambled eggs. It's important to stay hydrated. So the next thing I do is get the bowl out of the cupboard where the bowl is stored. I've got 2 bowls suitable for scrambling eggs. I've got a small Pyrex bowl, glass bowl, and a larger one. The bowl I use depends on whether, 1, how many eggs I'm using, and 2, whether or not the bowls are available, because of course living on my own I don't wash up that often. I tend to leave things to save water. That's the reason I do it. I save water by not washing up that often. So I may decide to have scrambled eggs using 2 or 3 eggs, and then find that the bowl I want to use isn't available because I used it for something else. Usually scrambled eggs. So if the bowl I want to use isn't available, I will then use the other bowl. For 2 scrambled eggs, I will always use the small bowl unless the small bowl is not available. If the small bowl is not available because I've used it for something else, then I'll use the bigger bowl. For 3 scrambled egg, I will use the small bowl as well, and only use the large bowl if the small bowl is not available. I sometimes think about using the large bowl for the 3 scrambled egg mix, and then decide it will actually all fit in the small bowl, so there's no point. Just extra glass being used, getting dirty, more washing up, surface area to be washed. So I will tend to use just the smaller bowl. So I'll use whichever bowl is available, usually the smaller bowl if that's clean. If both are dirty, then I'll have to wash up the small bowl, because that's easier. So I'll use the small bowl, although it does depend on what actually it's been used for, I suppose. Depends which one's messier as well. That's another factor to take into account. So I'll get the small bowl if it's available, if not the large bowl, and then I use the edge of the bowl to crack the eggs on to put the eggs into the bowl. I sometimes think about using a knife because you get a nice cleaner break, and you run the risk of less of egg shell going into the bowl. I generally just use the edge of the bowl and have a bit of fun afterwards trying to pick out all the shell. Makes it more interesting, trying to get your finger in and trying to pick the bits of shell out. Burns calories. So it makes, if you're having the 3 scrambled egg and you didn't really want the 3 scrambled egg, then you're burning some extra calories. You might feel a bit more hungry if you do that. So that's what I do. I get the eggs side on. I haven't tried end. I don't think that'll work though. Side on and crack it onto the bowl like that. And the egg tends to go into the bowl as well. So that's how I crack the egg, and then I put the egg shell that's in my hand into the egg box. It's quite useful, that, isn't it? Into the egg box, and then depending on whether I've used the last eggs in the box or just a couple of eggs or 3 eggs from the box, depending on whether I'm making the 2 or the 3, I'll either throw the box away with the shells in, or take the shells out of the box and put the shells in the bin, because you don't obviously want the broken shell staying in the box if you've got other eggs still in there. So So that's what I do. Crack the eggs like that on the edge of the bowl. The eggs go into the bowl. Do that, a bit of that as well, just to help the process. And then you've got your 2 or 3 eggs in the bowl ready for whisking. Now what happens next depends on how recently I've made scrambled eggs. There are occasions where I haven't made scrambled eggs for ages when I've forgotten the next step and I cook it in the microwave. Oh, I've gone too fast, haven't I? I cook it in the microwave and I suddenly realise, damn, I forgot this next step. The next step is salt and pepper. I do like black pepper, so I've got a pepper mill and a salt grinder. I use the sea salt, and I will put some of that into the egg mix. There's no set amount. I just do it until I think there's enough. Till there's enough in there. Less salt, more. I do like a peppery scrambled egg. So once that's done, I then whisk the eggs. Now, how many? I've got what are those hand mixers, and it's got 2 whisks on. Potentially, you can have it when it's put away. It's got none on. Then you put 1 in, and then you can put another 1 in to make 2. And it again depends which bowl I'm using. Because the small bowl is not really wide enough round to comfortably fit 2 of the whisks, plus the fact that it also saves on washing up. So I just put 1 whisk on, and then they're little devils, aren't they? When you fry an egg, I'm about to say fry boiled egg, which you could try. When you fry an egg, it's really frustrating when the yolk breaks, isn't it? That's one of the nice parts about frying an egg, having a nice runny yolk. And it's really frustrating when the yolk breaks. When you try and mix your scrambled eggs up, it's sometimes quite difficult to actually break the yolk to begin with. And it just chases them around the bowl. So I always have to make sure I'd puncture the yolks to begin with the mixer, before I start mixing. And I mix it for a while. I go into full. I obviously start slow. I don't want to rush the process, because you could make a bit of a mess when everything flies everywhere. So I don't tend to put on too fast to begin with the mixer. I gradually increase the speed until I'm on full power, and then just let it dance around the mix like that. Sometimes I change hands and dance around like that. And just do it until it looks frothy enough. That's the process. Then, if I've forgotten to put the salt and pepper on earlier, I'll put the salt and pepper in then. If I haven't forgotten earlier, I'll put it in earlier, so I don't need to put it in now. Or I might decide it doesn't look as though there's enough pepper in there, so I'll add some more pepper. So that's that step. Then I get some milk. I don't tend to measure anything. I just pour some in, and if it looks, that'll do. Yeah, that's nice. Just about that much I put in, and then I give it another mix, and then I tend to get some butter and just dot it around the outside of the bowl and the quarters of the bowl, and then it's ready to go in the microwave. That's where the fun starts. See, I could cook it on the hob, but it means too much stirring and keeping attention on the saucepan and making sure it doesn't burn. So that's why I don't use that approach. if I was cooking it for just people more than just myself, then I probably would switch to the hob method. As I'm just, on my own, I just tend to put it in the microwave. So what I then do is get a side plate, one of my older side plates, not my best ones, not they're particularly good, but I'd prefer to use the older ones, and they're thicker and more easier to, they're more robust. They don't tend to break or crack that easy. So I put a side plate on top and then put it in the microwave, and I generally, if it's a two egg scrambled egg, I put it in for about 1 minute 40 on full power. I've got a 750 watt microwave oven, I think. So I put the bowl into the microwave, put it onto 140, ready, waiting, and then I get the toast. Usually 2 pieces. Again, it depends how hungry I am. 2 pieces, 2 eggs is fine for 2 pieces of toast. It does cover 2 pieces of toast. 3, 2 as well. It just depends on how hungry I am. Like when I did some rowing last Friday, and even though I had done the rowing, I wasn't that hungry, so I only had 1 piece of toast with the 3 eggs. So while the bowl was in the microwave waiting, set on 140, I put the piece or pieces of toast in the toaster, usually from the freezer, because I don't get through bread fast enough to justify having fresh. I put the toast in the toaster and put it down on defrost option. I've no idea what that actually does, the defrost button, but I obviously press it because it is frozen bread. And then the toast down. Teas, probably in the pot, or on the side, or I might have been slurping it like I am now while I'm preparing. And then as the toast is down, I then put the microwave on, cooking the scrambled egg. And then I probably, if I hadn't had tea poured out before I started preparing the scrambled eggs, then I definitely would be pouring some tea. I'll have some more now. So the microwave's on, spinning. Mine spins. I don't think all do. Mine definitely spins. Unless there's something that's too big and it just spins and the Western doesn't spin. So yeah, the microwave's on, toast's down. It indicates just waiting at that 1 minute 40 until the timer's up and it pings. And then at that stage, it's usually cool enough to be able to pick the bowl out of the microwave. So I take the bowl out of the microwave. Usually it's still running at that stage, and because I don't measure how much milk I put in, so it's always a bit, never quite sure of the mix. And so I take the bowl out of the microwave, usually with my hands at this stage, and carefully lift off the plate because there's a lot of steam building up beneath the plate. And I used to use a fork and give it another mix, because when in the microwave it tends to go solid with a pool of liquid, so you need to make sure that you break up the scrambled egg at this point before it's fully cooked. Otherwise you just get a large mass of scrambled egg, which isn't quite nice. That's one of the disadvantages of using the microwave method. So I used to use a fork to break up the scrambled egg, but I use the I thought I might use the mixer. One saves potentially washing up. It depends what I then use the fork for later on. I might use it for actually eating the scrambled egg, so in that case I don't. But it does actually work better though. Don't turn it on. I did try that once. I had to make a mess. So I just tend to use the whisk itself to break up the scrambled egg. the toast still, at this point, toast is still going. It takes about 2 minutes. Again, it does vary, particularly on the defrost option, as to how long it takes the toast to cook, but it takes just around about 2 minutes. So, just broken up the scrambled egg, put the plate back on the top of the, I've got a rush now because the toast is almost done. So I put the plate back on the top of the bowl and then put it back into the microwave. And I usually do it for another about, depends. It does depend on what the mix is looking like. And obviously if I'd done the 3-egg scrambled egg, I would have put it on for longer, probably about a couple of minutes to begin with. And so I put it back into the microwave and put on another roughly about 20 seconds. And get it going again. And then I'm still waiting. Now it depends what the toast was probably popped now while that's been going on. And I have to check the toast, like most toasters. You have to usually turn the toast over to get it to do properly. Somehow they can't quite do the toast properly, toasters. So I have to turn the toast over so it does both sides reasonably equally. Put the toast back down. And then we're waiting for that next 20 seconds. And then at this point, the bowl is becoming a bit of a problem, has to be said. And at this point, after those 20 seconds have elapsed, I will probably use a tea towel just to keep the heat away from mine, because now it's getting quite warm, the bowl, too hot to touch. So I use the tea towel and take the bowl out of the microwave. Inspect it again, hopefully. It is quite nice runny. Better to be runny than a solid lump, I find, scrambled eggs. So I don't mind it runny. So I'll just check it again. If it needs more time, then I will give it more time. Probably about 10 seconds. Probably be sufficient after, this final check. Give it a stir again to break it up with the whisk from the blender, hand whisk, and it is electric, yeah, hand blender, and then if it's done, isn't it? There's nothing else to do. Just put the lid back on. I've obviously taken it off carefully, very, 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 very carefully the second time, because it's loads of steam at this point. It can burn your hands, so it's something to watch out for. So that's the scrambled eggs done, unless they're not done, in which case put them back in another 10 seconds is probably the most. I say it's best for it to be runny than solid. So might need another 10 seconds. Hopefully not, but after the first 140 and then 20 seconds, that should be okay, but it might need another 10 seconds. It just depends on how it looks once you whisked it as well. So if it's gone back in for another 10 seconds, that's another 10 seconds that have elapsed. But at the same time, I'm got to watch out for my toast, because when you put it down the second time, of course you're on the full normal amount. And if you don't watch it, you could burn your toast, and that's quite disappointing if you've then burnt your toast and you get your scrambled egg ready, because your scrambled egg is getting hotter for a while and then cools down, and you don't want that to be going on while you've got no toast. So it's important, back of your head, mind, don't want to mind this, to be honest. So you need to make sure you don't let your toast burn. So what you're thinking about, or does it need 10 seconds extra after the second time out of the microwave, you need to make sure you don't let your toast burn. And it's quite disappointing if you need that extra 10 seconds, because then your toast gets cold if you've got to take it out because it's ready and your scrambled eggs aren't. So yes, make sure your toast doesn't burn. Pop it up manually, because you can't let it obviously go the full time, because the full time is for proper cooking the toast, but it never actually properly cooks the toast. It cooks one side of the toast too much, so you have to do it slightly less, so you can then pop it up, it pops up automatically, then you can turn it over to try and do both sides. But that's my toaster works anyway. And the one before that as well, and probably the one before that actually. So you might have put, or I might have put the scrambled eggs back in the microwave for another 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Ten seconds have passed, it's beeped, and now that's probably definitely done, or possibly you've overdone them. The last batch, I did 3 eggs the last time, and I hadn't done 3 eggs for ages, and so I did actually put it in there for a bit too long. Plus the fact I was being distracted at the same time, and I was tired from rowing. So ideally though, you should have a nice, perfect, slightly runny eggs that have been scrambled in the bowl, which is quite hot, especially after the extra 10 seconds, if you've used an extra 10 seconds. So I've got the toast. I always have butter on my toast. I prefer Anchor. I've tried others. I've tried other butters on my toast, and I have to say it is my favourite. So I have the butter on my toast, 2 pieces or 1, depending on whether I've cooked 2 pieces or 1. If I've cooked 2, I'll toast butter 2. If I've cooked 1, I'll butter 1. Get the scrambled egg out and try and, if I've got the 2 pieces, if I've got 1 mixed, it doesn't make any difference. If I've got the 2 pieces, I will make sure I try and spread the scrambled eggs out evenly across the 2 pieces the best I can. That makes it easier when you eat it to make sure you pace the scrambled egg and toast to mix properly. You don't want to run out of toast or run out of scrambled egg. Running out of scrambled egg is less likely than the toast, to be honest. So that's that. And then I might still decide there's not enough pepper on the scrambled egg, so I'll add some more at the table. And with the scrambled egg, I usually have tomato sauce. Tomato sauce, if you ask me, is the best sauce for scrambled eggs. If I have bacon, I have to have brown sauce with it. If I have just to have scrambled eggs though, I find tomato sauce is the best thing to have. Sometimes if I'm feeling I could fancy some spicy food, I will actually put some chili sauce in the scrambled eggs as well. That adds a nice kick to it sometimes. I do like it like that as well, or just without, just the pepper and the salt. And so I then take my tea, take my plate and scrambled eggs, and sit myself down at the table and eat it, trying to avoid burning my mouth. That's my major problem in trying to eat food. Generally speaking, I always try to eat it too soon. It's always too hot and I burn my mouth. But it's nice to eat it hot though, isn't it? So that is how I would put the bowl in to soak. I don't know what it is though. I put the butter in the scrambled egg mix. One of the reasons for that is so it hopefully won't stick to the bowl so much. But I always find though, scrambled egg, I know what it is about it. It always sticks to the bowl, and that's one of the reasons why. When I make scrambled egg, there's a possibility that the bowl has been used before with scrambled egg, because it takes, as I said before, it takes me a long time to get round to washing up the scrambled egg bowl that I've used, because I've tried to put it in. I've put it in soak. I always put it in soak afterwards. Put some water into the bowl above the level wherever the scrambled egg's been, and I find even if I do that and then put it into the dishwasher, and it's not just my dishwasher. This is again like toasters, dishwashers in general. It never gets the scrambled egg off. It always seems to cook the scrambled egg more in the dishwasher. So yeah. So that's why sometimes I could have gone like, oh no. Yeah, as long as that, yeah. I've not washed the scrambled egg bowl up and then come to make scrambled eggs again. like 4 days later, and I haven't got the bowl available because I made scrambled eggs 4 days earlier, and I haven't washed it up, not because I'm lazy, not because I'm lazy at all, just because I haven't had enough other items that need washing up to justify filling a bowl of water or a sink. I haven't got a bowl, I've got a sink. So that's an issue, yeah. There's strange, just never comes out dishwasher clean, a scrambled egg bowl for some reason. So yeah, so I put that in soak, and then sit down and eat my scrambled egg. Oh, they're lovely. I do love scrambled eggs. I think I've finished discussing how I make scrambled eggs. Like I said, I would prefer, and sometimes I do occasionally make scrambled eggs on the hob, because if I'm honest, it does taste nicer cooked on the hob. The trouble is, it means watching it all the time and making sure you got to stir it all the time to make sure you don't burn the bottom of the saucepan. And just for me, I just don't find it worth the effort. So there you are. So I would prefer that